April 23rd. That is the day. We have a very, very special guest today on Trusted Heard Live. I'm your host, Brian, and we are joined by an incredible business mind, great entrepreneur. Her name is Miss Shelly Justice, the CEO of CMT Agency.
Hi, Brian. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Shelly. So, Shelly, welcome to the episode here. Just for everybody that's watching, we were doing a little technology roulette at the beginning of this, and so Shelly's coming to us live from her iPhone, in case you're wondering. But really great to have you here, Shelly. Just for everybody that's new to the program, I think this is episode number, gosh, what are we on now? 16. So the whole idea behind this is there's a little bit of pause going on in events, and I thought it'd be really nice for everyone to learn the story of the agencies that we always see and that we always apply to, and the names that you maybe hear about, and their background and their story about being an entrepreneur and the company that they've built. So we're really honored to have Shelly here today. She's been in event marketing a long time and has done some incredible stuff. So I'm sure her story is going to be really engaging. And if you have any questions as we're moving along, feel free to drop them into the comments section. We'll get to the audience questions at the end here. So without further ado, Shelly, let's talk about nothing to do with events. When you are not doing events and you are not doing CMT, what are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
So I like a lot of outdoor sports. I play golf. I love to do sporting clays. I do bird hunt. I love to do interior design, which is
Okay.
not outdoor. Not outdoor. Actually, I guess if you consider your porches and things like that.
Yeah.
Recently, I purchased a metal detector. So now I look like one of those people on the beaches with the metal detector going down, seeing if I can find a treasure. I have actually lost my earring over the past few weeks, so maybe that was an incentive to buy the metal detector.
Yeah. What is first off, I guess, how many times have you used the metal detector so far?
Well, I just got it last week, so I'm about 2 or 3, probably 3 days into it.
Okay.
I'm trying to learn the system of how to use it.
And are you just practicing in like your backyard right now, or
Yeah.
Okay. Have you found anything interesting so far in your backyard?
I have, but I just don't know what it is. It's too far, and I'm trying to dig it out. It's taken me a couple of days, but I can't figure out what it is. But I will let you know when I get to it.
If this episode was like a week later, you'd be saying, my new hobby is metal detecting. I also just got a excavator for the backyard.
Exactly.
I'm going to learn that excavator.
Exactly.
Very, very cool. So let's talk a little bit about what we're here to talk about. So the event world. If we were to have just met today and I didn't know anything about you, how would you describe CMT agency to me?
So CMT started out as mainly trade shows and convention staffing agency. Today, we're a global trade show and event staffing agency where the diversity of CMT is between trade shows, events, and promotions, which we would consider adult beverage, is what I think in the promotions world is what you could say. So we really don't focus in one arena, and we're very diverse as an agency that supplies staff.
Yeah, there's so much that I want to get into there of what you just said, and I guess we will in a little bit here as we get to some of these questions. But before you got into CMT agency and started it, with how many years has CMT been around so far? Let's start there.
So we are 19 years.
19 years, coming up on 20. Very exciting.
Absolutely. And all of the gray hairs here because I cannot cover it because we cannot go to the salons. So you can see it all right here.
You actually can't tell, Shelly, because that sun is shining right on you, you know? How about, so you launched or started CMT agency 19 years ago. What were you doing before CMT? Were you in the event world? Were you doing something else in another industry?
Yeah, I did not start in the event world. When I graduated from college, University of Georgia,
Go dogs.
go dogs. I was hired by a company as a salesperson to sell videos
Hmm.
to video distributors. This was back in the day with VHS.
Okay.
So I used to go around to the blockbusters and sell the movies that would come out once they were on screen. Then they would come out into video.
Yeah.
So I would go and sell to the larger stores and the little mom and pop stores.
Yeah. Um, okay. So doing some video stuff, and then do you remember the very first time you heard about an event or somebody brought you to work an event?
Yes. So, well, I don't remember the exact day, but I
Sure.
do. As I, grew up, I became a product demonstrator
Okay.
for many brands. So I would travel around the world and do presentations. I was a presenter and worked for many companies doing, talking about their brands, product demonstrations. And, you know, during that time, I was quite young. And I was also in the intro into the event world was I was a Bud girl and a Jaeger girl.
Hmm.
So that tells you it was a long time ago.
All right, so you're doing the trade shows, and that's got to be really exciting because I know that there's a lot of event workers out there who, just love to travel domestically to do events, right? But that had to be pretty cool to be traveling globally, doing event work and presenting, right?
It was. I also lived in Italy at the time. So I would live here in the States and in Italy. So I would go back and forth. So I was able to work the European market without having to have the expenses or have the clients pay for it for me to go back and forth from the
And
States.
yeah, was there a big market? I guess. Do you speak another language other than English?
I do, or I used to speak Italian. I would
You,
say I was probably 80% fluent at the
okay,
time with
okay.
a Southern accent. Yeah.
That would be you'd be Sicilian. That
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
um, great. So you're doing events in Italy and really all over. Um, at what point did you realize, hey, I think I want to start my own company?
Well, after being talent on the show floor, I realized that there was a need to bring the talent and the client into a uniform business, we'll say, in a way to put the two together because I kind of understood what the client needed and wanted, and as talent, I was able to provide that. And by listening and watching, I kind of knew, you know, what what the correlation should be. So it was, at that point in time, I said, I could do this. And that's, when CMT was, was evolved, I guess, was probably I was still doing events at that point in time, and then realized this could actually be a business.
Yeah, and so in starting it, was that really like your purpose or your mission of starting it? That bringing those two pieces together?
Well, it was just important to me. The clients were so stressful and stressed out at these events because their head was to the on a platter because they have to show their ROI.
Yeah,
They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on some of the companies at these shows, and they had to show a return on their investment. And then I just realized how valuable hired talent could be for these companies.
yeah,
And then when you talk through it and you were able to actually, you know at the end of a show or an event and show and be able to give them hard data on why people came back, the responses and recaps that you would hear from people that would come to the booth or come to the activation, and they were able to take that and and be able to go back and justify their ROI on
yeah,
some, not in every case, but it was a piece of how they could justify their ROI.
yeah, sure. Um, and so you start CMT agency. Where did the name come from? I mean, I've known you for a few years. I don't think I've ever asked you this question. Where did CMT come from?
So we started out as convention models and talent. and we always shortened it and called it CMT agency. And then probably 15 years ago, I guess, or maybe or around that time, we just legally changed the name to CMT agency.
Okay.
And then
Um,
the logo kind of evolved over time. Kind of, we always had the round, the circle, and it's had a few, different ways that we did it over the years.
yeah. Do the lines inside of the circle mean anything?
The lines do not, but the circle kind of means the world because we are a global agency and we do provide talent in Europe and South America and Asia and Canada. So it's kind of I guess it you know, is the symbol is the world, we'll say.
Yeah, no, that's good. And for anybody just joining or joining later on, we're here with the CEO of CMT Agency, Shelly Justice, that has almost next year will be in business for 20 years. I'm trying to think back on our previous guests that we've had, Shelly, and I can't quite recall anybody having like global events. And I know CMT does a lot of that. How does staffing global events differ from staffing domestic events?
I think you have the language barriers, a bit. Our clients love to be seamless when they, let's say it's an American company that's exhibiting in Europe. They like to keep the language, if they want to speak English as opposed to maybe working with local agencies at wherever they are. And I think that it's just maybe the European market is different than the United States. They have, and in South America, they are more hospitality. So it's very important for them to have hostesses in their booth. So they have, they're serving coffee or they're serving food. And a
Yeah,
lot of that is different than it is in the States. They've kind of moved away from that model type, I think, in a lot of the trade shows. So I think, things differ. So you kind of have to understand the region or where you are to understand maybe the type of talent that you're looking for or what the clients are looking for because the needs vary based on the countries.
sure, sure. And I remember talking a couple episodes ago to Brittany Menestrina of In Vogue Marketing, and she was telling me she got an opportunity. I think it was in Barcelona, right, to actually bring her friends, who are also great event workers, over there to work this. Um, when you were working in before you started CMT, you already had that global experience. So, how quickly out of the gate of starting CMT did you start to net on like events outside of the U.S.? Was it pretty immediate for you?
I wouldn't say it was immediate. I would probably say probably 10 years into
Okay.
CM. So I'd probably say 10 years ago we began we got stronger and stronger as far as booking talent in other places outside of Canada in the US.
Yeah, yeah. And that must have been pretty exciting, right, as an agency owner, because you're doing all this domestic work, and now all of a sudden that CMT agency brand is starting to go to other countries, right?
It is. It is. And it's our clients that we work with in the United States like to work with us in other countries because it's just easier. They know how we work. They know our workflows, and they know what to expect. And
Yeah,
it's really kind of seamless across the board.
yeah, sure. That makes a ton of sense. So once you do start CMT agency, do you remember your first client or anything about that event?
I believe one of our first clients was Svedka Vodka, and I had a friend that worked for a distributor in where we opened in Atlanta. And I remember they came to us and they said, we want to do a program. And for Svetka, we want the blonde Russian type looking girl. So our answer was, okay. They said, do you have it? And the answer is usually always yes, even though we probably didn't have the amount of people that they needed to execute the program. But the answer was yes. And so we did. We executed the program. I think it was a 6 month program, and we actually, supplied exactly what they wanted.
Yeah,
It was, it was. all hands on deck. At the point in time, I had a business partner, and there were only two of us, so it was we it was basically based we did it all. So
Yeah. And that's pretty big out of the gate. I mean, a 6 month program, right?
oh yeah, it was overwhelming
Yeah.
because we had no idea what we were doing.
But you did make it through all 6 months, correct?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. Good.
And
Um,
did we develop that relationship with the distributor, hence the supplier, and
yeah,
we were able to do it in other markets.
that's amazing. This question came up a couple episodes ago, and I do find it really interesting. Is that you do have that first client through a relationship? In your case, for you, how hard was it, or where were you finding or trying to find client number two, client number three? Do you remember what that process was like, or where you were looking for them?
Yeah, I mean, because we were on the trade show, my at the time business partner, we had experience on the trade show floor, so we were able to go back to experiences that we had and people that we had met, and that's kind of where we grew, and which was our niche for quite a long time. Was and then we went back in our contacts and kind of grew our trade show and convention client database. I would say that was the thing that we started with, and pretty much what we were known for some time before we actually got into the experiential and the events world.
Yeah, yeah. Do you still consider CMT agency like the heart of it, conventions and trade shows?
I think it will always hold a special place because that is why it was, where we came from. And
Yeah,
our clients, because it's such a professional, for most of our clients, they want a professional extension to their sales and marketing team. And that's where we excel. So our clients are large brands that need to be able, let's say it's a medical show. They need to have someone that can talk about their brand, if as long as on the pharmaceutical side it's a little bit different, but they need to have someone that can speak to a doctor and be able to talk about what their brand is to a level of a CEO, or and it's important for our clients to have that level of talent.
yeah.
So yeah.
That's great. So with it sounds like actually that distributor was a very big deal out of the gate, 6 months, and the relationship developed. Do you feel like within the next few years of CMT, was there one particular client for you that you go maybe to your business partner at the time, like, this is a big deal, like this feels like it's starting to kind of take off?
I can remember Wasserman Media was our client, and their client was T-Mobile,
Okay.
and we did all of the NBA playoffs. So they came to us and said, "We're going to execute." It was, and we don't know the cities yet, and I guess until they. I'm not a basketball fan, but when they would win, you wouldn't know until what the team was and which city it would be until maybe just a few days before.
Yeah,
So they came to us, and it was large numbers, that they needed, and they would pass out lanyards as people were going into the games, and
yeah,
yeah, that was a big deal. That was probably that was a huge client, and we had it was a good year.
yeah.
It
No,
was, yeah. When we look back over revenue, that was a good year.
yeah, that's amazing. It's always nice to uh, back when I was running our agency with my best friend, it was like to have that name, right? Not just
Mhm.
T-Mobile as a client, but
Mhm.
like the activation power of the NBA
Mhm.
is such this. Uh, it's not just great for the moment; it's great for selling your business down the line to future clients, right?
Sure, logos. Yeah, I mean everybody wants logos.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone uses logos. You just always want to make sure you actually did the job for the logos.
Right. Um, so CMT is great. You clearly don't get to where you're at today without a team. Can you tell us what team has meant to you along the journey, and maybe what you respect most about those around you?
Well, the team is the backbone of a company. Uh, so you have to rely on someone giving you advice and able to listen to what they have to say. I mean, they're in the trenches sometimes, and they're able to hear and see things that we're not. And the team that we have is just incredible. We've had some lot, but our agents, our customer service reps, they're solid. They've been with us for a while.
Yeah.
I have an incredible business development uh, person. She came from the industry, from the agency side. She does an incredible job. And then we have a very strong COO that's has a lot of patience. So yeah, we have a really good team, and we're all obviously right now with the situation that we're all in,
Yeah.
is working remote, and that's something that we had not done in the past, and it's working out really well. They're just they're doing a great job as far as keeping our database updated. There's obviously not a lot of work going on right now,
Mhm.
but they're doing what they can, and their feedback on things that we should do, they're doing that right now. So
That's great, and I can only imagine, in building such an organization as you have, in an agency, that the team would be such a key component of it. So,
oh yeah, for sure.
how about you personally, Shelly? Do you feel like you have any traits or intangibles that have helped you get to where you're at today?
I'm relentless and I persevere.
That's good. That's good. Two very good traits.
I've
Um,
been that, that's the core of who I am, good or bad.
yeah,
But that's, I feel like that's what a company needs. And there has to be a backbone, and you have to grow, and you have to step on that, and continue to build your foundation.
yeah, yeah. How about advice that today's Shelly Justice would give to the Shelly Justice who just started CMT agency 19 years ago? Is there anything that you would say to that person that maybe would have accelerated your path faster?
Yeah, be patient. It will get easier. Trust what you do, and generally go with your first instinct or decision. People wrestle with what they sometimes feel, and they go around and around, but many times it's what you first came up with in your first thought, and then you challenge yourself, and then you come back around, and you could say, well, I should have taken my
Yeah,
first thought on what I should have done.
yeah. That's really good. And I mean, that was something that from a very young age, like I always struggled at, even going back to middle school, right? Because you would take the, we called them in Illinois, the Iowa testing with all the bubble answers. And
Hmm.
I could take a test and like talk myself out of any answer, right?
Yes.
And still to this day, I have a tendency to do that. And so I think what you just said is really important with going with that first instinct, and just
I mean,
trust.
it's not always going to be, it's not 100% every time, but in many cases, it ends up being the right choice.
Yeah, yeah. Um, all right. How about one piece of advice in general, or two, that you would give to event workers?
Be reliable and communicate. If you are going to be late or you're sick, be courteous enough to talk to your agent, or talk to your agency, and let them know what's going on. No call, no show to events. It's not acceptable in any
Yeah,
way, shape, or form, and it allows us to maintain our relationship when the client with our clients, as long as we can let them know and keep them in the loop on things that are happening, and things happen, of course
yeah,
they do. I mean, nothing's perfect, no one's perfect. There's going to be a car wreck, there's going to be a flat tire, someone's going to be sick. We get that. Just communicate and be reliable, and do what you say and say what you do.
yeah. That's really good, and simply put, that anyone should pick up on that. Uh, Shelly, I would work for you any day.
I
And
would hire you any day.
Well, I just need to talk to Enza about moving down to Atlanta. But now that you're doing the remote thing,
Yeah,
maybe it's right.
really.
Um, about there's a lot of workers who were really excited that we were going to talk and have CMT on Trusted Herd Live because you have built up this reputation, this admiration to workers in the industry. What is there a certain type of worker that CMT agency looks for when you interview for the first time?
Um, I think being communicative, let us, if you have a question, ask us. We just, the internally, if we've worked with someone before, everyone in the office knows,
Hmm.
good, bad, or indifferent. It's how you do the job. It's what the client says about the talent. It's how we relate to the talent, how they relate to us. Listen, there's never any perfect situation, but I think that that just treat everyone with respect. We should treat the talent with respect, and they should treat us with respect, so that we can treat our client. They hired us to do a job, and we need to do the job to the best of our ability.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's a great answer. I mean, it's a mutual street there. This question actually came from Bree Bolden, and we're almost at the audience section. So if anybody has questions for Shelly that they want to drop into the comment section, go ahead and do that. And maybe this is like a different flavor of what I just asked, but
Mhm.
how could talent stand out to get hired for an event?
Fill out your resume. Make sure you put in previous jobs. Your biography is extremely important. Um, have great photos. I mean, the selfies are just not so great. Have someone spend a moment, stand in front of a nice plain wall, have a smiling shot that shows, hey, I'm going to represent your brand. See my smiling face?
Yeah,
Take pride in your photos. No selfies in the bathroom with the shower curtain in the background. It's terrible. I will tell you, that is one of our biggest pet peeves, are how or what the photos look like in the profiles. You do not need professional photos, but you need to have professional like photos. Talk about your experience, who you are, not just, hey, I'm a great person or I want to work for you. Give me something to go on. Tell me why you're so great. Show me the jobs that you've done. In our system, you're able, every time you work a job, it is added to your profile. So clients go in and see the jobs that you've worked. So at least for our company, so
yeah,
it's what we call a company resume.
yeah,
So every time you work, it's added automatically to your profile. So clients can go in there and see, wow, she's a great fit for us. She's done a lot of technology shows, or they would be a perfect fit for doing product demonstrations for us. But it is, take the time on your profile. I know that talent are with a lot of agencies, and it gets tough doing the same thing over and over again. I get it, but this is your job. This is what you are. You are an event specialist. So show that client that's who you are.
yeah. No, that's a really good answer. And I think that we talked about this either yesterday or the day before, but that bio is so key because
Hmm.
it tells the story. It almost is like the definition of being someone out in an event site and promoting a product or service, except you're just promoting yourself and your own story
Hmm.
in that bio section. So that's really good feedback and advice. Uh, I would be remiss if not to say, Shelly, I like everything that you're saying. I really want to work for CMT agency, especially when events come back on. How and where do I go to do that?
So you can go to our website and go under talent profile. We have an app that you can download. It's called Senegal Software. You can go, and if you go to our talent profile, it will give you our agency code. So the agencies that are on it have an agency code, and they're able to add the agency code and then go in and create their profile.
And I'm gonna get real fancy right now and throw that up on the screen for everybody.
Okay.
So there we go. Um,
It's an iOS and Android. So if you go to the App Store for Senegal software.
Perfect. So everybody head over there, get that Senegal software app. There are other agencies that are on there as well that benefit from the great software that Senegal has. So otherwise, Shelly, you're an incredibly talented entrepreneur. You've done a lot in your life, especially in the event industry. Do you have advice for anybody? I know it's maybe not the most opportune time, but anyone that's thinking about starting a business, would you give them any sort of advice?
Yeah, I would say be talent. Be talent in the event world so that you can use your experience to start your company and grow your company based on your own experiences. If just simple situations are, how do I pick up a badge at a show? It's hard to tell someone if you've never done it. I mean, there's if you are that person doing an event in some form or another. It doesn't have to be, as a brand ambassador. It could be as the lead. It could be. There's many different ways to be in the event world or trade
Yeah,
show world, but be on the front lines so that you know what to expect. It's hard to be an event staffing agency if you've never worked an event in any way or attended an event or been, in the trenches. So I would say get that experience before you even think about doing anything.
yeah, no, and that's great. Because there have been so many entrepreneurs that we have interviewed on Trusted or Live that talk about that talk about these moments, right? Of them working as events themselves, and they go, "I don't like that. I definitely want to do something different when I start a
Mhm.
company." And you pick
Right.
that up, and that's almost how you develop kind of your basis and your foundation of what you're trying to build.
Hmm.
Um, good stuff, Shelly. There is, let's see here. We got a question. Um, there's not going to necessarily give an answer here, but curious. When do you think brand ambassadors will get back to work?
So we, interestingly enough, just had a request yesterday, at least for for to quote, that they were looking to do testing for COVID. I guess at some of these drive-throughs,
Yeah,
and it was a large amount that
yeah,
they of people that they were looking for. So I mean, it could be on a situation like that. It could be maybe in a couple of weeks,
yeah,
3 weeks. Now that's a situation that's obviously it's out of the ordinary, well, I guess, opportunity. But I would say that samplings may, when I say samplings at package stores and possibly grocery stores, may be coming June, maybe a few. It's hard to tell. No one knows, but we've heard some rumbling that maybe June for sure. I believe July should at least start to see a few things. Trade shows probably will not start back until fall, which there's not a lot of trade shows or conventions in the summer anyway,
yeah.
so that's kind of par for the course. So I would say, obviously in Georgia, everything's going to be open tomorrow. So I would not say that would be the case where they would do samplings, But I do think that there's opportunities upcoming.
Yeah, I do too. And it might not be in your traditional event role
Hmm.
what you're used to, but I do also feel that, you know, I'm starting to hear from a couple agencies just in the last few days that they are getting a couple opportunities that maybe aren't necessarily what they would normally focus on,
Hmm.
but there's going to be opportunities for their talent that enjoy working for them and if they want. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, yeah. And then there's actually a second part to this question, and this has been touched on once or twice before in certain scenarios. But do you think that let's use that example of like July and the package store, some of these other events that might start up sooner than trade shows. Do you think there's going to be new policies or uh,
Yes.
things around it? Do you have any idea of hunch?
I just think there's going to be a lot of protective, wear and things like that they're going to be doing. I think the world has changed, and it's going to take it a long time to ever go back to the way it was. I do have hopes that it will, but
Yeah.
it's probably going to take a while.
Yeah.
And I do think that you'll see changes in how things are done. How promos are executed, or samplings, or different things like that. I do think things will change. I hope that they don't last that long.
Yeah.
But no one knows. We're all in a gray area right now.
Yeah. We can only take it day by day.
Mm-hmm.
Shelly, this has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I always enjoy talking to you.
Right back at you.
Anything else that you'd like to share to the individuals that are watching now, or later today, or next week?
I think that we want you to know that we appreciate you. You guys are why we are in business, and I know things don't always go 100%, and it's not always in everyone's favor, whether it's the agency side or the brand ambassador side. But let's continue to work together and iron out, anything that comes up, and let's continue to grow our relationships so that the clients want to come back to us as agencies so that we can book the brand ambassadors. And I tell you, the good ones excel. If you're late, or no shows, or you don't know products, and you don't listen, and you don't pay attention to the description of the jobs, and you don't know your brands, it's a problem. And the clients will stop coming to book talent, and we'll stop booking, or booking jobs, and then we'll stop booking talent. So let's continue to keep the dialogue open, and you guys, if you have questions, always just ask us, and we'll do the best that we can to help you get through any issues or situations that you might have.
Yeah, we did have one quick question come in here from Tanisha that she took time to write it, and so I want to make sure we ask it. Do you suggest that talent specialize in a specific area, like becoming certified in wine and spirits, or do you suggest talent just remain generalized?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think that you need to be able to adapt to any environment, but if there's something that let's say you love wine, you
Yeah.
want to become that wine enthusiast or specialist, or something like that. Um, you know, it, and you said it was Tanisha.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, we love Tanisha, but yeah, I mean, you become great at your skill, but you have to be able to adapt. But if you can find something that you can do great in and become that expert, please do. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's certainly not going to hurt you. it's gonna
No.
it's gonna help you if we have a special request for something.
Yeah. Thanks for reading my question. You're very welcome, Tanisha. I hope you're enjoying your Thursday wherever you're at.
Mhm.
Shelly, again, thank you for coming on Trusted Heard Live and sharing the story of CMT Agency. Uh, it's been amazing to watch you progress and your story. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining. Tomorrow we'll have Turnkey DOT on. And then after this call, I'm going to jump on and make all the graphics for next week and upload the events to the Facebook group for all of our guests for next week. Same time tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. Central, and we will catch you all later. Thanks so much, Shelly.
Bye. Thank you. See you guys.